I don't know what brought you here today. Maybe you're just scrolling, letting your thumb drift across the screen, not really looking for anything in particular. Maybe you're actively searching, typing words into the search bar, hoping to find something, anything, that feels like a lifeline. Maybe you don't even know what you're looking for. Maybe you're just following a thread of curiosity, a whisper in your chest that says, keep going just a little further. But somehow, you're here, and I don't think that's an accident. There's a strange magic in the way we find things right when we need them, even if we don't realize it at the time. Maybe you clicked on this by chance, or maybe a friend sent it to you, or maybe it just popped up at the top of your feed. However you arrived, I want you to know, you're welcome here. You're seen, you're heard, even if only by me, right now, in this moment. Let me start by saying this. If you've ever felt like you're drowning in your own life, if you've ever sat in silence, wondering if things will ever feel light again, if you've ever whispered to yourself, I can't do this anymore, and no one heard you, I did. I hear you now. And this story, this sprawling, winding, honest story, is for you. There was a time in my life where everything looked fine on the outside. Maybe you've been there too. I had a decent job. People thought I was doing okay. I played the part. Smiles, social media posts, even little jokes here and there. But inside, I was unraveling quietly. What people didn't see was the way I couldn't sleep at night because my thoughts felt like thunder. They didn't see me walking into the bathroom, closing the door, looking in the mirror, and feeling like I didn't recognize the person looking back. They didn't see the small daily battles I was losing, not answering texts, not eating real meals, avoiding anything that reminded me of the life I used to want. And that was the scariest part. I had stopped wanting. I want to pause here, because I know how easy it is to gloss over that. We talk a lot about sadness, about anger, about anxiety, but what about the numbness? The slow, creeping fog that settles over everything, making the world feel dull and distant. That's a kind of pain too. It's the pain of emptiness, of not knowing what you want anymore, of feeling like you're just going through the motions. I remember the day it happened. It wasn't a big moment, not a dramatic meltdown. It was a Tuesday. The sky was grey. I had just come back from work, put my phone face down on the kitchen counter, and sat on the floor. Just sat there. For hours. I wasn't crying. I wasn't even angry. I was numb. And when the numbness sits long enough, it starts to feel like peace. But it's not. It's the kind of silence that eats you slowly. I remember whispering to myself, maybe this is just how it ends. Not with a bang, but just disappearing. Maybe you know that feeling. Maybe you've had days where you feel like you're fading, like you're becoming invisible to the world and to yourself. Maybe you've wondered if anyone would notice if you just stopped showing up. If you just stopped. But then something happened. Something quiet, something small. I looked across the room and saw this notebook I hadn't touched in months. I don't know what made me reach for it, but I did. When I opened it, the first page had something I wrote a year before. It said, "You are not done yet." That's it. Just that sentence, scribbled in messy handwriting. No date, no context. But reading it, it was like hearing a voice, my voice, the version of me who once believed in possibilities, the version of me who knew life could be better. And in that moment, something cracked. Not a breakdown, a breakthrough. The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in weeks. I made my bed. That's it. Not a workout, not a massive to-do list, just the bed. That tiny act said to the universe, I am still here. I am trying again. And that became my mantra. Try again. Try again. Try again. I stopped chasing the idea of being fixed. I started chasing progress, moments, tiny wins. I told myself, don't worry about 6 months from now, just worry about today. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and pretend the journey from that moment on was smooth. It wasn't. I had days I stayed in bed, days I doubted everything, days I slipped right back into the fog. But the difference was, I didn't stay there. You see, the real transformation happens in the ugly middle, the unsexy part. Not the start, not the finish, but the part where you're doing the work. No one is cheering, and everything still hurts. But I kept showing up. I started writing in my journal again. I said no to people who drained me. I let go of the timelines I had chained myself to. I began showing myself the kind of love I had been begging the world to give me. I was sitting at a park bench when it hit me. I was just watching people walk by. No music, no phone, just stillness. And I realized I hadn't thought about giving up in days. Not because everything was fixed, not because life had magically turned around, but because something in me had shifted. I wasn't looking for the exit anymore. I was looking for the next step. That was the moment everything changed, not dramatically, but permanently. I learned that rock bottom isn't the end. It's a foundation. I learned that healing is boring sometimes. It's not always epiphany and breakthroughs. Sometimes it's just brushing your teeth, texting a friend back, drinking water. I learned that life doesn't demand you to be fearless. It just asks you to be brave enough to try. And I learned the power of this phrase. It's not one day, it's day one. That one truth can rewrite your entire story. If you've made it this far, maybe something in this story mirrors your own. Maybe you've been holding on by a thread. Maybe you haven't said it out loud, but you've been thinking, I can't keep doing this. So let me say this to you. Don't give up. Not because everything is easy now, but because you are worth the work. The version of you on the other side of the breakdown is not just alive. They are thriving, and they're waiting for you to fight for them. Start small, start scared, start late, but just start. Not one day, day one. In the comments below, I want you to write one thing. This is my day one because. Finish that sentence. Say it out loud. Write it into reality. Let the world hear your heartbeat. And if this story found you when you needed it most, share it. Someone else might be praying for a sign, and you could be the reason they stay. Hit subscribe if you're ready to heal, rebuild, and rise. Because this isn't a channel, it's a movement. And we're just getting started. You are not too late. This is day one. Let's talk about the masks we wear. The ones we craft so carefully day after day until they feel like a second skin. I wore mine for years. Maybe you have too. My mask was a smile, a quick joke, a carefully curated Instagram feed. I was the friend who always replied with, I'm good, just tired, even when I was falling apart. I was the colleague who volunteered for extra work, the family member who remembered everyone's birthday, the person who never let anyone see the cracks. But the cracks were there. They always are. We live in a world that rewards perfection. We're told to hustle, to grind, to fake it till you make it. But what if you never make it? What if the mask starts to suffocate you? I remember scrolling through my feed, seeing everyone else's highlight reels, vacations, promotions, perfect relationships. I compared my behind the scenes to their best moments, and I always came up short. But here's the truth. Nobody's life is perfect. Everyone is fighting battles you can't see. Everyone has moments when the mask slips. Sometimes the heaviest burdens are the ones we can't put down. Expectations, ours and everyone else's. I grew up believing there was a roadmap to happiness. Go to school, get a job, find someone to love, buy a house, have kids, retire, travel, smile. But what if you take all the right steps and still feel lost? What if you reach the milestones and realize the view isn't what you hoped? I spent years chasing other people's dreams. I said yes when I wanted to say no. I stayed silent when I wanted to scream. I tried to fit into boxes that were never meant for me. And every time I betrayed myself, the world got a little dimmer. If you're carrying the weight of expectations, let it go, just for a moment. Breathe. You are allowed to want something different. You are allowed to rewrite your story. There's a kind of loneliness that comes from being surrounded by people and still feeling unseen. I felt it at parties, at family dinners, in crowded rooms. I felt it most when I was alone with my thoughts. I used to think I was the only one who felt that way, but I've learned that loneliness is universal. We all crave connection, understanding, a sense of belonging. If you're feeling lonely right now, know this: you are not alone. There are millions of people out there who feel the same ache, the same longing. And sometimes, all it takes is one honest conversation to break the spell. Reach out, send a message, make a call, or just listen to this and know that I am here, and I see you. Starting over is terrifying. There's no sugarcoating it. It means letting go of what's familiar, even if it's painful. It means stepping into the unknown, trusting that something better is possible. But every day is a chance to begin again. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need a 5-year plan. You just need to take one step, and then another, and then another. I started with making my bed. Maybe for you, it's taking a shower, or going for a walk, or writing a single sentence in a journal, or opening the curtains and letting the light in. Small steps count. They add up. They matter. Healing doesn't happen in isolation. We need each other. We need safe spaces to be honest, to be vulnerable, to be real. That's why I'm inviting you to join this movement. Not just as a listener, but as a participant. Share your story. Offer encouragement. Celebrate the victories, no matter how small. When we come together, we remind each other that we're not alone. We create a tapestry of hope, woven from our individual threads. So, if you're ready, say it with me. This is my day 1. The practice of self-compassion. We're taught to be kind to others, but we're rarely taught to be kind to ourselves. I was my own harshest critic. Every mistake, every misstep, every perceived failure, I punished myself for all of it. But self-compassion is a skill, it's a practice. It means speaking to yourself the way you would speak to a friend. It means forgiving yourself for being human. If you're struggling, try this. Put your hand on your heart and say, I'm doing the best I can. Repeat it as many times as you need. Let it sink in. You are enough, exactly as you are. Progress isn't linear. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you feel like you're moving backwards. That's normal. That's human. What matters is that you keep going. When you fall, get back up. When you lose your way, find your bearings. When you feel like giving up, remember why you started. Every day is a new chance. Every moment is an opportunity to begin again. You don't have to do this alone. Asking for help is not a weakness, it's a strength. It takes courage to admit that you need support. Reach out to a friend, a therapist, a support group. There are people who care. There are people who want to help. You are not a burden. You are not too much. You are worthy of love and support. There will come a day when you look back and realize how far you've come. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but it will happen. You'll notice that the darkness has lifted little by little. You'll see that you're stronger than you ever imagined. You'll feel proud of yourself for surviving, for fighting, for choosing to stay. And when that day comes, I hope you celebrate. I hope you honor your journey. I hope you share your story so that others know they're not alone. So, if you're still here, if you're still listening, if you're still breathing, This is your invitation. Start again. Begin where you are. Take the first step, no matter how small. Write your day one statement. Share it. Live it. You are not too late. This is day one.